Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the worst gadgets and star powers in the game right now. So I believe in a few updates time, I think there's going to be some big changes to star powers and gadgets, maybe even third gadgets and third star powers coming soon. That is just my personal thoughts. So I keep making these videos in anticipation that there's going to be some big buffs or some big reworks. So hopefully next update there will be. So just quickly before we go into the video, make sure you put in all your suggestions for future videos in the comment section. I know I ask it a lot, but trust me, I just want to bring the content that you guys want to see the most, whether it's guides, whether it's Power League draft content. Just let me know in the comment section below, and make sure you're using the creator code. That'd be greatly appreciated. Without further ado, let's hop into it. All right, guys, so jumping into the star powers first then. So we're going to be looking into Mandy's second star power called Hard Candy. So I don't think I've ever seen anyone use this star power. I mean, maybe at lower trophies people just use it, but for me the first star power is just way better. But anyways, this star power is just terrible on its own. I just feel like it doesn't really fit the playstyle of Mandy, because with Mandy, the way you kind of play it is you want to go in and out of focus mode as much as possible, because of course you don't want to be taking damage. Of course, when you're literally standing still, it's so easy to take damage, but at the same time, like, that shield's not going to stay on for long enough. Maybe if the shield lasted a couple of seconds after you're actually focused, it might be pretty good. Maybe people would abuse it, maybe like half second, I don't know. But for me, for now, like, just standing still and getting a shield, it just doesn't cut it. Okay, so next up on the worst star powers, we have Edgar's star power called Hard Landings. So I know there's plenty of other really bad star powers, but I'll just go over them over and over again. They don't seem to get any buffs, so I'm kind of going for some star powers that are kind of sleeping in terms of the fact that they're really bad, but no one really talks about them. But Hard Landing for me is just terrible, especially in comparison to Fisticuffs. This star power, people will say, well, it's good, especially on those squishier brawlers. But the thing about Edgar, you want to be charging your super back as much as possible, because it takes forever to charge your super. So of course, if you're dealing that extra bit of damage with star power, it then just means you're charging up your super way less. You know, on squishier brawlers anyway with Edgar, if you jump on them, regardless of star power or not, you're going to kill them every single time. So it didn't even need his star power. But maybe a nice change in the future, maybe a little bit of extra damage, because of course when Power 11s came out, this star power secretly got a nerf, because of course all the other brawler HPs went up, and this star power just doesn't really have that punch anymore in it. So maybe if it was like 1500 damage, God might then be a bit more of a threat, especially to those high HP brawlers. Okay, so jumping into another bad star power, we have Daryl's second star power, Rolling Reload. So Rolling Reload, it seems pretty cool. He doubles his reload speed for 5 seconds. But a lot of the time with Daryl, unless you're kind of cycling rolls, you've already got probably like 2 pieces of ammo, 3 pieces of ammo. So I don't think the the increase in reload speed is going to help him out whatsoever. And this star power in competitive is only used on like a base race map. So like a map like Pit Stop, for example. Say if the opponents just leave you, then you can get a lot of value out of a star power. But for me, the other one is just way better. I see no real use for Rolling Reload. Even on Heist, I still run the other star power, so maybe a little bit of a buff to this star power would actually make it a little bit more viable. Alright guys, jumping into the worst star power in the game right now, we have Remote Recharge on Sam. So this star power, I don't think I've seen anyone talk about. I don't think I've seen anyone use, because of course the first star power with Sam is just way better. I'm playing without it. You know, Sam is just terrible without that star power. But anyways, even if you use the Remote Recharge, it's just horrific. It sounds good to begin with. Like, I thought when the sneak peeks came out with Sam, I thought the second star power was going to be better. I don't know why, but you basically get a little bit of a recharge back. But a lot of times people just stay away from your knuckles anyway. They kind of watch where the knuckles are, so then of course Sam can't go towards it. But no one's going to be standing on top of a knuckle, just because most people use a gadget which pulls people closer to them, and it's just really counterintuitive. And I just don't think it really requires like the Sam playstyle. Doesn't fit the Sam playstyle whatsoever. And even so, even if someone is on top of the knuckles, the charge rate is just so slow. The star power is completely useless. And finally, moving on to the last bad star power, we have Dino Jump with Dynamite. So I used to always hate on this star power anyways, before they actually changed the way Dynamite's main attack actually works. But now you can't even double jump or triple jump, or you can do it, but you need like a lot of walls or your super. So for me, Dino Jump is just never really that good. It's only really good at maybe escaping a few, brawler supers. For example, if a Daryl rolls on top of you, maybe you can jump out of it, or if like a Tara pulls you, you can actually use a Dino Jump to get out of that super. But other than that, there's just only a few niche scenarios where Dino Jump is actually good, and you can't even showboat with it anymore, so it's just completely useless. Hopefully in the future they actually change it, because they did say when they initially made the change so that Dynamite's bombs explode quicker, they'd say that maybe they decreased the air time for Dynamite, so you can actually double jump and triple jump. So maybe it'll be viable once that happens, but for now they've seemed to have forgot about it, so Dino Jump has to be one of the worst star powers. Alright guys, jumping into the worst gadgets in the game, starting off with Griff's gadget called Coin Shower. So there's quite a few gadgets and star powers in the game which have been released as like one of the newer brawlers or just one of the newer gadgets, and they've been terrible and they've just not been buffed whatsoever, and Coin Shower is one of them. It's one of those ones where probably noobs or, you know, the more casual play base would look at this gadget and just see 33% more coins equals more damage, it's got to be good. But you know, anyone with a brain cell just knows that this gadget is absolutely terrible. It is pointless because a lot of times you'll actually just miss your shots with Griff or just not really get the full damage. It's probably only good if someone's literally on top of you with Griff, but you don't really need that extra damage anyways with him. I just think it doesn't really fit him. Maybe if it made his actual attack a little bit wider as well, so it's a little bit easier to hit those extra coins, that would be nice. But for now, this gadget is totally useless. Alright guys, so jumping into the worst gadget in the game right now, by far probably the worst gadget in the history of Brawl Stars. Let me know if you can think of any more gadgets that are worse than this one in the comment section below, but I don't think there has been. Inverline is the worst one ever, and it's still not been changed, which is really weird. So if you don't know what Inverline does, basically it makes it so when RT splits, uses his super, so from his leg to his top half, like a small shot goes in between the distance, and then it slows them and deals damage. It seems like maybe when you read it, it can be pretty good, but I remember playing RT for literally trying to get his mastery, probably for like 2-3 days worth of playing him, and I must have hit someone like twice. And like in relative terms, that's absolutely awful. You should be able to get value out of your gadget pretty much every single game. Even a fidget spinner, you at least maybe hit a couple of bombs, but with Inverline, it's just completely pointless. Probably the worst gadget or star power, anything that's been introduced into the game ever. Alright guys, so jumping into another really bad gadget, we have a toolbox with Meg. So this one, I'd actually go ahead and say that it's somewhat underrated, but the main reason why I'm highlighting it is because I'd like to actually see a buff to it. It's been released for a long time now. I feel like this could be a really fun mechanic if the radius was increased just a little bit, just because it's really hard to get value with it. It's only really used now to maybe tank some sniper shots, or I've seen it used into like a B composition, for example. But other than that, it's really lackluster. You don't really get too much value out of it, and the other gadget with Meg is just so strong. So this is more so of a cry for a buff for a lot of the gadgets that have came into the game and just haven't really seen any playtime, and Toolbox is definitely one of them. Alright guys, so jumping into the next gadget, which is really bad, it is fast forward. So we must have spoke about this gadget like a million times for years now, but now with Shelly being one of the best brawlers in the game, if not the best brawler in the game, it's probably time that fast forward is at least buffed a little bit, because clay pigeons is used probably 100% of the time. I don't think I've seen anyone use fast forward, and now the movement speed of Shelly has been increased, there's even less reason to use this gadget, because people use this gadget, well, they're probably introduced it into the game to close the gap towards you and the opponent so you can deal more damage. But now with very fast movement speed, you don't need this fast forward. Plus, it seems like really slow when you use the gadget. It seems not really laggy, but you get what I mean. You're just really slow. You're really vulnerable when you do dash. You know, you compare this with Max's dash. She gets an invincibility shield, which is just insane, and it's way faster. Whilst with Shelly, if anything, you're just a free target when you use this fast forward gadget. So for me, it definitely needs a little bit of a rework. Alright guys, jumping into the final gadget, which desperately needs a little bit of love. It is a crash test with Bonnie. So this gadget, again, has just been overpowered by the other one, but even without that one, this one would just be terrible. So it basically reminds me of the old Stu. Whenever you used to super onto someone with the old Stu, you used to knock them back. So they've probably introduced that kind of mechanic in with Bonnie here in her smaller form, but still, it's just not really the best. A lot of time with Bonnie, when you do jump onto someone, you normally pick a target which you know you can kill 100%. You'll probably end up getting that kill or just dying as you jump in. But if you do get the kill, you normally just run away, because of course you haven't got much range. So I just don't think you really need this gadget when you're in combat in that smaller form. So It's very rare that I'll get any use out of it. Probably the only use I've seen out of it maybe to cancel like a BB attack or like Mortis dashing in. But other than that, the other gadget is just way better. Alright guys, it's going to be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know what you think are the worst star powers and gadgets in the game. But as I mentioned in the intro, I really do believe that there's going to be some big changes soon. You know, the meta hasn't shifted in a while in terms of like the top rulers. So I think they've been holding something on the back burner. You'll have to wait and see for that one. But that's going to be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.